How's it going, everybody? So, you get two videos from me today, because I posted one earlier where I unboxed the first ever Zobi box. Link will be down in the description if you haven't checked that out yet, feel free to do so. But right now I'm here to talk about the film I just saw, the latest action film from Mark Wahlberg, Mile 22. I guess you could say that Mark Wahlberg and Peter Berg like working together, since I believe this is their fourth film they've done together now, because they did Lone Survivor, Patriots Day, Deepwater Horizon, and now this. So, I mean, I liked all those films varying degrees. Of those, I like Deepwater Horizon the most, and Patriots Day is probably next, like right below. But either way, I mean, all those films I did enjoy. Peter Berg's actually a decent director. I like Marky Mark, so I like those, and I like these action kind of style thriller films, and figured it was worth a shot checking out. I guess I'll just dive right into my thoughts about the film. The film pretty much centers around Mark Wahlberg's character, who's this like elite intelligence officer and his unit of men and women, and they're tasked with smuggling this former police officer out of the country from Southeast Asia because he holds some really important information that a lot of people seem to want. So that's why they got to smuggle him out of the country, no matter what it takes. For what this film was accomplishing, I'd say it was a successful enough action thriller. I mean, you get thrown right into the action pretty much from the get-go because there's no time to waste because, I mean, it's really like a time-sensitive mission. I mean, the movie literally opens with a big old action scene, so you get right to the action right as the movie starts. And because of that, I mean, there's really no downtime because the movie's only like an hour and a half long anyways, but it's just like go, go, go action pretty much for the entire movie. I really feel like Peter Berg did a really good job framing the action in this, where it's not all unbearable, shaky cam, jump cutty nonsense that you see in a lot of action films. It really felt like you were pretty much like on the ground in these firefights with them and in these hand-to-hand action scenes, which made it much more interesting to actually watch these action scenes, because not only that, but they were really brutal as well. I mean, not even just like the showdowns in the hallways and all that, but like actual like hand-to-hand fight scenes in this movie were really brutal. I mean, I get it was rated R, but some of those scenes in this like really made me cringe, especially like some of the ones towards the later half of the film. Especially the ones involving Iko Uwais. I think I'm saying his name right. The guy from the Raid films. He's a very good actor. But yeah, he pretty much stole every scene in this film. I feel like even more so than Mark Wahlberg. Like he was like the show-stopping, show-stealer right here. He was like a machine pretty much every time he was on screen, whether it be like, especially in the action scenes. He was like the most brutal, unstoppable force I've seen in probably an action movie in a while. Like, not only that, but like, just the crazy choreography that he has to pull off in these scenes. And he's also really good, actually acting, because his character actually has a lot of layers on him, with not going into spoilers or anything, but he has a lot of layers in this film that I really wasn't expecting his character to have. I figured it would just be like a basic, like, he's like a guy that needs to be smuggled out of the country, and that was it. But he actually has some really interesting backstory, and he plays the role really well, and I was really impressed by that. So kudos to you. I mean, I really wasn't expecting much from his role in this, and he actually ended up being my favorite part of the movie, even over Mark Wahlberg and the rest of the cast. Both him and Mark Wahlberg are pretty much the only characters that really matter in the film. Everybody else on the team's kind of expendable. Mark Wahlberg did a great job with the material that he was given. I mean, Mark Wahlberg is pretty much a pretty great actor in anything he's in these days. But everybody else, they're just really expendable, and they get like no development whatsoever. I mean, Lauren Cohen gets like a little bit of development. It's really just the whole fact that she has like obviously some type of relationship issues with Peter Berg, ironically, because he plays her husband or boyfriend or whatever. I don't think they even say. But yeah, that, and they have a kid, so they have like a strained relationship with their kids because she's in Southeast Asia and they're somewhere in America. And that's like that's her backstory. Like she's far away from her kid, and it's only really used to further a plot point later on in the film that really, that's the only reason why it's there. Otherwise, it really didn't need to be even talked about at all. Other than that, I mean, Ronda Rousey's in the film. I mean, I guess that's cool. She's not really bad or good. She's just kind of there for a couple scenes. And, I mean, John Malkovich as well. He's a great actor. I really like John Malkovich, but his role really felt really unnecessary. Like, it felt like he really should have turned down this role, because it's really minuscule for somewhat of his talent to take on a role like this. Because it could have been played by pretty much anybody. It's just kind of like marquee value that John Malkovich is in this film playing this character. While the story overall did keep my interest, it did start to get kind of predictable, especially as the film went on. Like, you could tell what the twists and turns were going to be. Especially because of this film is also like in the same vein as like an Annihilation, where they have somebody telling the story of what happened. And so like pretty much like who lives and who dies as you watch the film, just based on like who's telling the story of what happened. But otherwise, I mean, yeah, it's just really predictable at some points. It's just one of those things that bothered me about films like that. Like, Annihilation was the same way, but I liked Annihilation a lot more than this. I mean, they were completely different genres. But it's the same kind of storytelling where they ask somebody about what happened, and then they cut back and forth between that, showing you what happened. So you pretty much know what's going to happen based on that kind of narration. So that kind of bothers me when films do that, but like I said, it's just kind of like a nitpicky kind of thing. I think I remember reading this is supposed to be like the first of a proposed trilogy of films. I don't feel like I need a trilogy from this. I mean, I guess in Hollywood this day and age, you pretty much need to make a franchise out of anything. But with the way that's what ended, I really don't feel like there needed a sequel. But I guess there's like enough open if they wanted to make one, they could. But I really don't feel like it needs one with the way it ended. But that's just me. But yeah, I feel like this is somewhat recommendable. I think if you like action films, definitely see it eventually. I feel like this isn't something that you need to run out and go see immediately. It's not something that's that great. It's a somewhat enjoyable action film. It reminds me of almost like a not as good version of Sicario, if you've seen that film. It kind of reminded me of like a not as good Sicario in some scenes in this film. But that's just me. Definitely check it out at some point, but don't rush out to the theater. But those are just my thoughts on Mile 22. Leave a comment down below what you thought of the film if you see it. If you plan on seeing it, don't plan on seeing it, let me know. Also, feel free to leave a like, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all my movie reviews, trailer reactions, unboxings, Blu-ray hauls, and more. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.